Hello, everyone. My name is Luminous Zero. We're just going to talk about the future of Destiny as well as the 10-year anniversary event. I'm just going to give my quick thoughts on this. I did read over this while I was at work. Um, I just want to get my initial thought on all this down. I didn't really want to do like a podcast or a tweet. I feel like just at this point, I want to get my own um, thoughts down on all of this. So far, the 10th anniversary is happening. You get the veteran set, which is what these things are. Which is not bad looking. I mean, they do look like they're from D1. I mean, I'm a Titan main, so this is actually I'm actually going to use this a lot versus probably the Hunter as well. But that's here or there. Um, um, Oh, there's gonna be the title. There's gonna be another title. I don't know what's on it. I really had gone on and looked at it. Seeing like Sword of Hell Heart. Probably a couple other things. Didn't seem too necessary. And they're bringing out the Cade nerf releases. I think it's fun. Um, Maybe I may not get it. Not entirely sure. Uh, but that's pretty much it. I mean, I think it's very expected that it's gonna be very small, probably simple and not too crazy to get all this. But for something out of the 10 years and something simple, it's gotta be good. Um, and then with basically you got to basically to the end, so basically October 8th. So yeah, I don't think it's gonna be too hard to get all these. Um, but let's actually get into the nitty gritty of the conversation. Is basically what 2025 is gonna be like. Basically, ever since the layoffs happened, a lot of people have just had, like myself, has been feeling uncertain about what the future holds. And given the fact so far, um, it seems what we're doing, two expansions and four updates, major updates, which is, I think reasonable given what their size is now and what they want to work on. Um, I think in the overall sense is that um, at this point is nothing but you know what they're telling us what they want us to do versus the concrete um, validation of what's gonna happen. I believe that they're very two different things at this point. I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic at this point, given what I read so far here. Um, but I'm not gonna be like you know, going back to Destiny now more, knowing that I'm just gonna be um, optimistic and just really go from there. We're gonna go to these things in a bit. Right now, just gonna think. I mean, the artwork here. I mean, does look like it probably goes four new worlds. I mean, it's always it has to be at this point. I mean, are we gonna be stuck in Seoul for another year or so? Probably not. Um, and uh, one of the things that really got me off guard is that Tyson Green, basically the new game director for Destiny 2, recognized that is like uh, the annual stuff for Destiny has been too rigid, we're too formulated. Like he said it too. Like it's too much of the same thing. Like we're respecting it, all this jazz and all. Is I like that they're old enough to understanding that that's what it is, and that they really want to basically break the mold, um, which is fine. Um, One of the things about this is that they're going away with the one shot campaign, which is basically this. Basically, the thing that they're departing from it, um, and they're not, and that they're gonna try something different as like mini stories here and there, something that maybe you can look forward to, something that something that I believe has something like maybe like a Netflix show. Always expecting like you're watching a series and there's some uh, unanswered question that always comes out in like a season or two, or maybe like at the end of the season, everything gets answered. I believe that's what they're going for. Uh, and the fact that they're not doing one big expansion, they're doing two mid-sized expansions when they're 6 months, give us the actual idea of what could we expect, because this is something I'm very used to, I guess, in terms of Final Fantasy 14, where they do have their big expansion, but we do kind of have to wait about roughly 4 to 5 months, probably six, depending on like what's going on with them in the company, about into the next story patch or so. And in between those things, there's like many updates about raids and all that stuff. That this kind of thing I'm sort of used to, about having a game dividing up a year with many things that surround it. Um, to having like a basically two expansion a year, but they're very much smaller scale. I think it'd be a nice change. Um, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's like I said, it had to come into a idea of what's it gonna look like in game and like what they're presenting as time goes on. Because right now, if we're in September, we're not even finished up 2024 yet. They're already telling you about this. I I spoke about this on my podcast before, that I don't want. I understand transparency. I understand they're trying to communicate with us, but at this point, their words sort of mean nothing. At this point, they need to be like action first, and then I'll start believing in you. They're like, all this sounds really good, but like things can change. Like, what happens suddenly, like, 3 months from now, let's say it's December, they decide to do something else with the company, and now all this that they're telling us back in, today, it's like, oh, it's not gonna happen now because now we're, more smaller of a staff. Like, you know what I mean? It's very much like one foot in the door, excited, and one foot out the door, but like, like I'm checked out. But I think overall, what they're trying to do and what they're trying to like make us understand, sounds good. I think it's good for them. I think it's a shakeup like that needed for a long time, but it's also like it's a little too late at this point. Should have done this maybe a couple years ago, and then maybe we can finally get used to it as time goes on. But I think it's good. Um, the fact that we're not doing episodes no more, kind of like, I guess the episode was kind of like a feeler. With it did seem like that with Echoes, and I kind of feel like no, episode 2 and episode 3 is gonna be just like that as well. Um, the fact that they're gonna be I guess a season, then second year is like 3 months after. So with the 6 months of that expansion, there's gonna be 3 months of a season, and I get another 3 months to basically, I guess, catch up for the next expansion. Yeah, like that basically you're saying like a seasonal reset will happen with a twice a year long expansion. So guessing, you know, within those 6 months of the first expansion, you have a season, and you have basically 3 to 6 months to basically get everything done with that. Then another reset will happen, which I guess in a way they're trying to incentivize people to still keep playing, but not in a very much micromanaged way. Again, to my point, we had to really see that how this play out in the in game, and how it feels in game. Um, that would just be, how it is. The fact that they made a little thing about approachability surprised me. Uh, this is kind of like when the thing about Backfire where they're holding. They need to be accountable for a lot of stuff that they have not delivered, and the fact that they're saying they want to will now let people approach this game in a much easier fashion. We'll get into that when we get to the UI thing. Uh, and the fact that, right here, gear count should matter. Everyone talked about this. How many gear set we're gonna have, how many, like, you know, what the whole point of grinding certain things if it's not gonna matter. Next season or 2 seasons down the road. The fact that they're recognizing that us um, grinding out for these things, it matters to us. So it should matter in game. The fact that they're actually recognizing this makes it so much better. And um, and the fact that they're thinking about doing more depth than Artifact Hunter makes it so much better now. Because we're at a point now where we need to be grinding something. So having more options to do a death weapon and artifact armor definitely makes it more appealing to me in my own sense. I'm definitely getting into that. Definitely into that for real. And so I guess the next multi-year saga, I guess they're calling it now. um, we're gonna start with Apollo. Uh, this right here, this picture, my lord, I don't I feel like we're making new enemy factions, but who knows? But this is what excites me. I'm still playing Destiny regardless of where it is currently at and where a lot of the community feel, because I do have friends that still play Destiny. I'm still want to be a part of the community, so I'm still like 1 foot in the door. So I'm still playing this game for the story. So the fact that we're going to do something different with a 6 months expansion, another 6 months expansion, then we're going to have something of a multi-layer story, which is basically what they're called a multi-year saga, which makes sense. Which there's so much of Destiny that we had yet to explore, and I felt like we spent the last 10 years focusing on the witness side of thing, the light and darkness, and we really didn't have to explore anything. Like, what would happen if we find something that could go back in time to like the golden age, and we experience just the golden age at this point. So many things, and the fact that you know they recognize that they done everything here for Final Shape. They made an ending for the like Niner Saga. They want the episode to be like an epilogue, which that's what it feels like for Echo. Like I was having a conversation with my co-host on my podcast about how where are these episodes gonna feel like? Where are they even going? I feel like they're kind of like their own bits of story that might end up coming back in the following year to like touch up, but they might not end as the way we think they're gonna end. Uh, so having these things be there uh, kind of makes sense. So they're saying that well, this episode is going to be a tease and I guess 2 episodes. I'm running episode 3, which makes sense. So I'm guessing episode 2 might have. We're going to start seeing more of um, a sense of what the power is going to be, and I guess obviously wherever the episode 3 is, which is the hive, which is supposedly there, suggesting that it's going to be like us piloting a ship or us, the dreadnought. Gotta be thing, and the fact that they're very much saying it's gonna be non-linear. Um, this is what I love about this. This is where my optimism is more at its highest. Because I don't like linear to a point. I'm guessing like could I play too much RPGs? Sometimes RPGs has a lot of linear stuff. Like you do have to like go from point A to point B, then point C, then once you finish the game, then you can backtrack to some other thing to like a different route. For that, I mean, I'm all about like if I like to do something at that point and it's like it caught my attention, I want to explore it and not be gated by something. Um, for the fact that they're saying that it's gonna be non-linear, and the fact that you're gonna start with A, and then after the initial starting of that quest, which they like the first 2 or 3 quests maybe, you now have option to do something else. This makes it somewhat better of maybe in terms of content creation or maybe in terms of talking about this, that a lot of people would say, well, I found this first. And they're like, oh, you went that route. And then I went to this. And they're like, oh, really? Let's go over there. And I'll take it to where I saw. And then next thing you know, sorry. The one thing I really hope that they very much um, keep the solid foundation and solid progression on what they want to do for the future of Destiny is the fact that they're gonna make this story unfold based on players' progression, and this I think is needed because as I talk about Destiny about to a friends on my podcast, whatever, I always make sure that in my imaginary bold letters that the new light experience is not where it should be. I mean, you go in and you're just bombarded with a bunch of crap all at once. Some people don't know what they do. Some people ain't don't mind it. It's not a good look for approaching this game as a new player. So I guess with this, what they're doing is now that you can now start Apollo. If we're starting fresh, let's just say we're now starting fresh, then new players coming into Apollo and basically not being bombarded with a lot of things. You can now just be where everyone is going to be at, day one, or you could be, close enough on week one or on month one, whatever it is that you start the game. And then you can now follow along with the rest of the player base. This is what it needs. I'm not saying it should be maybe it should be new player experience anyway, but this is something that I feel like either every expansion bringing forward, seasonal, whatever they want to do for the future of Destiny, make the story based on player progression regardless. So this way, no one is behind, no one can start anywhere, no one has to be wherever they need to be. One person who starts this game is that basically a concrete starting point. And then if they want to keep playing this game, and that's where they come back let's say they come back 3 months later after the expansion, they have time to catch up. And then next thing you know, they have 3 months or 4 months, whatever it's at, what time it is, to finish off that season, and they can start with their friends the next expansion or season. That's where it needed. I think this is where if Bungie can pull this off by staying it and pulling it off in the system of in the game, I'll bite my tongue saying that I'll shut up about experience altogether. But for now, I think this is a good thing to have and good thing to experience. Two good things to hope to experience. I would say it's good having that because Final Fantasy 14. I'm not sure how WoW does it. I'm not sure how Guild Wars does it, but I know Final Fantasy 14. Or to be up with the current stuff, you do have to play all the premium expansion and all of the premium expansion. Then there's something that's locked you behind certain end game stuff that allows you can go back to certain raids and do them on the hardest difficulty, and then you can do them the most harder difficulty, but all based on player progression. So player 14 can start from finish all the way to Realm Reborn to Dawntrail and not do any of the end game stuff. But those people who want to do end game stuff have to start from, AR to Dawntrail, or if they stop at Endwalker, which is like the last expansion, and you come back to Dawntrail. They all you have to do is do, the story quest on Dawntrail, and then they're already caught off. So this makes feel like it's more in the MMO that they always been trying to give us like we're an MMO shooter, whatever. This kind of feel like an MMO now, where everything we do is based on our progression. So you're not you're not missing anything. Honestly, I'm not sure. The one thing I think we'll find out more where they're saying that is every 6 months. I'm not sure if this fantasy is going to go away after 6 months. Like, how we kept everything for a year. But if they are going to keep that idea where it's like here's expansion 1 and here's expansion 2, and then when 2026 said everything goes away. So kind of like to keep that where people want to like are busy or maybe don't want to try right away, but we'll see how it is. But if everything restarts every 6 months, like everything in terms of like what you can do in titles and what you get in game, then it might be a little iffy. But if we keep everything for a year, I think we're solid. Um, Cause then it's only basically too expensive for years. It's not too much, I would say. Not bloated, I would say at all. But like I said, we have to see how it is in terms of how it is in game. Um, the fact that we're already getting involving factions, like I just said, new character growing involving faction. That's good, but I still think that we still need a new enemy race at some point. um, but the fact that they're very much again having an idea that they're not going to be linear story, it's going to be all over the place. There's a pro and a con to that, but I think we're going to have to see how Bungie does it, and the idea because like they're standing right here for Apollo. The Apollo ends with a narrative gasoline that will propel us into the next few years with a clear theme, goal, and a destination that won't come at you at a straight line for a well-versed trip. Um, like they'll reward us, surprise us, and take us where we've never seen before, which is needed. Like I'm not. Let's be real. We've been in the solar system for 10 years. We're gonna have to go somewhere new. The question is, what is it? Like, how many new worlds are we getting? What is this gonna happen? And how the narrative's gonna be? So all this sounds great, but at the end of the day, we're gonna have to be like very critical with them, saying, "Hey, like you told us this did not happen. What is going on?" Like at the end of the day, this vlog about what they want for 2025. I'm not sure how 2026 is going to be, but for 2025, I think the frontier, what they're calling it, I think what I read so far and what it is, I think it's very, very good to have. Um, and I think it's a good start for them to be transparent, but at the same time, I do have to start being a little critical and say, like, what you're telling us has to be fruition. Like, you cannot not tell us and not do it. Um, what they've done, I guess, multiple times for PvP. So at this point, it's really a matter of action versus words. Um, the next thing we have right now with this, they add other things, core game activities. This is something I think uh, very much needed. I'm glad they're recognizing that they need to fix core game altogether. Because that's basically 9% of all our stuff that we do. I think 10% story and other things. Um, I like how they recognize the problem and saying that Pants definitely release, all attention has been relatively small, offering newly induced details, nothing more altered with a narrow range of difficulty options, if any. Warriors just have to focus all purposeful play into these activities to the exclusion of most other. As a result, the original game became stale and exhausted a worthwhile reward. Any further pursuit required a free, deep knowledge of Destiny or online guide to find worthwhile rewards in older activity, which is true. Um, like I said, like for new life players, you're bombarded with a whole list of crap all at once, and at the same time, you don't even know what you're doing. So you already have to go to all of the game to figure something out to do in game. Well, it's word of mouth or friends or clanmates, whatever. So therefore, just no way to do it. And the fact that their solution is, I guess, the portal. So the core community activity are those assets for the new portal screen altogether. A selection of 7 dozen new and updated activity that ties into the seasonal theme and gameplay meta. This is lesson update every major update, including the current expansion and any running event, which I think makes sense. So like how they, I get to keep everything here at once. So it makes sense. I mean, I'm not highly sure. Like, obviously, this is all subject to change. Let's all be real. This is mostly like a baseline mock-up. Yeah, like here, it's easier or mock-up subject to change. But like the fact that you have solo sub fire team, kind of cool. You know, kind of make it so like if they keep this on anything they do for the final model, perfect. Because then it does help anyone that may not understand the game like unless us veterans do you have an option like, okay, I can do this solo, then maybe I can do it with the fire team. Like, what's my pinnacle for the week? Here you go. And then obviously PvP and anything that's going on, like seasonal events, or holiday events as well. Um, which makes fun. Which makes sense. Uh, this, uh, don't know if a lot of people ever played Monster Hunter, but they had not Monster Hunter. Yeah, I believe it was, yeah, Monster Hunter in a way where down here. So I'm gonna hit myself on this one. But anyway, the fact that one of the biggest things I think I heard over the last 10 years or 9 years of me playing this game, um, it's challenging this game to player to player. I know some people really like to put themselves on the spot and put themselves in the position of really playing this game with the loadout they done with the meta to like the fullest, and get rewarded for it. The fact that this right here, the customization, uh, and everything else, I think is what needed because you now have an option to be casual, mid-core, or hardcore. This does kind of break down the thing. Once I looked at this, my biggest concern isn't the gameplay of this. I'm gonna be very real. The community would not be toxic on this shit. Oh, you cannot be at all toxic about players going into this game and then saying that I want more rewards, so therefore you're going to have to deal with it. No, it's just hopefully as time goes on, we'll get obviously creators going to find ways to help min-max this and all this stuff. But the fact that with all this does make the meta feel uh, more viable. Feel crafting becomes a thing now because you can do certain things. This does bring life to the game in a way that I think it needed. That's perfect. When I'm talking about Monster Hunter, where it says reward rating, um, basically depending on how you do as a team and how you do as a visual player and how the rating where Monster Hunter had this where every time you do a hunt, it gives you like 4 things like categories about what each person does. So like if a person's like did more critical damage, he gets rewarded for that, and one person like kind of sets up more trap, get rewarded for that. And certain things you guys do, you get like extra pieces of the monster or items and all stuff. This kind of feel like that's what they're doing with this. So it's because Enterprise like play as a team, kind of have like a if you're playing with the already framing fire team, it kind of gives you a sense of like, hey, I'm gonna be the defender. I'm gonna we have healing weapons. I mean, I'll focus on healing you guys a little bit more. I'll focus on this part of the artifact. It does emphasize like actual team gameplay as well as you need to make sure that what you have is viable to the table. It can't just really be all nilly-willy. I mean, you can probably, but to see how the reward work and what the it is really good from the casual side of things or is good on the high level of things. I think this really does bring something to the table that's needed, because I feel like, you could just play any core games at any time right now, and I'm like, oh, cool. I got a gun, a freaking crystal, engram or whatever it is. Like, all this. So if I know that I'm going to do a certain modifier and I want to get an engram, two weapons this time, or maybe I want to do something harder with a few buddies, like 3 or 4 weapons, and like I know what I'm getting, and hopefully the drops out of thing is better as well. The It makes sense. It kind of helps with planning out things there too, because everyone has jobs, school, whatnot. I mean, you could say like, hey, this is the modifier for this week. Let's do this on Tuesday, or like they were on Friday night. Give a couple of our buddies knocked out. Fire a couple hours. Hopefully, we'll get the drop we need and call it a freaking day. You know what I mean? It's cool. Like I like that. The fact that you could do that with any core activity. So like obviously the Gambit player wants to do Gambit all day and get something out of it and make it more challenging as time goes on. Let's do it. Like all you have to say is except for Crucible. Like I like the fact that they're understanding that the problem with PvP is still PvP and they're trying to make it work. So the fact that they are understanding that PvP is still in a problem stage and they already are trying to make it work, it's really the matter of just like this entire thing need to be like, like less. Let's be real. Like we know it's not a good spot. We need to fix it, and that's all good. So they're saying for expansive activities. I guess there's going to be something unique. I guess they're saying so expansive activities such as story missions or destination activity for that more unique challenge and how they relate to power and changing seasons. Our attention now comes that expansion content is always a great way to start off the season and will have a path to high tier weapons and armor. But that progress versus core game activity will be part of that path. So they're just saying that, it's going to be part of everything I guess they're doing. So it's not going to be separate. I guess I feel like a lot of times this time it's going to be included with everything in terms of core activities, which doesn't make sense. They just said about on the last vlog when I wasn't sure how they're going to handle, seasonal stuff every 6 months. So basically, except for seasonal activity that are normally removed at the end of the year, older activity will remain available to launch from the destination match, such as everything. Over time, it's our intention to clean up and retire some older to the offering that's well served by the portal, such as Vanguard Isle. These have a lot of ties to Disney content, although they would need to be moved over gradually, which makes sense, No, at time, like we're not really at this point sunsetting, but they say that time goes on. Like if it's not being viable at some point, we're just gonna remove it and add it to the matchmaking. As time goes on, which I feel like they already done that in a very slow rate. Hopefully, this is not gonna be much slower. But yeah, I think that's a good thing. Another thing is that they're gonna talk about overall rewards. This is where I think obviously this is a looter shooter, so new gear coming into play, and it always tend to be tricky in most situations, because a lot of people I feel like they're being forced to not play their favorite guns most of the time, or feel like the meta is not suiting them because they need to be certain meta heavy or to progress. Hopefully that what they're doing with this does alleviate some of that thing where you don't have to worry about having a lot of meta guns. Like if you have a gun that works better and you can work on it and still be viable, that's good. Basically just saying that in the past that's the season, only a narrow range of activities receive updated reward leading to a narrow selection of activity worth playing. These reward pools tend to be not very deep either, with most chasing bottoming out with weapon perks or crafting recipes, and armor not mattering much at all. They're like I said, now they're ever since the past few logs, they're now recognizing some of the problem and they're taking account for it, which is, you know, in my eyes, good for you, Bungie. Uh, yeah, it's like they're also recognize that it's unsatisfying grind and tiny self activity as you feel able to play with the best word being a matter of luck than skill or mastery, which is true. I mean, I don't know how many times I grind for something and never got it because it's just all comes down to luck. Their solution is that legendary weapons armor will be available in a deeper range of quality tiers that layers of properties like stat bonuses, enhanced perks, and other benefits. For weapon, this is how a death weapon upgrades the baseline uh, legendary. Baseline tier legendary weapons armor will be equivalent to current day legendaries, with higher tier being gradually equivalent to a death weapon in terms of upgrade. This is by far needed in the game because there was always a weird separation on what a death weapon can do and what the baseline version can do. And sometimes people prefer the baseline over a death weapon because they already had the rolls on the baseline and they already had upgraded its perk. So it felt like already better. It felt like they're now randomly building up on that logic and kind of feel like, now not like you don't have to do masteries, I guess. I'm not sure how masteries will work in the future. But knowing that anyone can now have like sort of like a even playing field depending on how they want to like work off their weapons, perfect. Then they're saying that these higher tier weapons are already available for a full range of core weapon activities, except rewards for higher level challenge tier and mastery of those activities, which is goes to the point of like how casual you want to be versus how much you want to really grind out the highest modifiers and tiers to get those current things, current high level tiers of weapons and armor, which makes sense. Like if you're gonna be casual, you're going to get the casual level stuff. If you want to be hardcore, you're going to get the reward that matters. So it does put you in a sense of like how much time you play in this game, and the care of the stick matters at this point. That's basically what I think that they're trying to go for. Um, they're saying that the major core game reward pool will be updated in every major expansion, and that will be, PvP, like Strikes, Crucible, Dungeons, and Trials of Osiris. Every expansion will contain 2 full reward pool, which is basically the dungeon and raids and the story stuff. Uh, they're not saying that they're now kind of like separate what new versus old. I think it's always, I think for me personally, I didn't need it because I can never tell what dropped during the season versus like what dropped last season. They're getting the fact that they're giving us like virtual stuff makes sense. Knowing the fact that they're now already answering the question though, if it's going to be sunset, no. Basically, I think they're saying that like I think it's the same stuff we have right now. That not everything, not we don't sunset weapon anymore, but you want the same weapon with the ability to upgrade the tiers. You do have to you have to get the same weapons and then go from there. Um, yeah, since this gear will remain unchanged and ready for using any activities except those set aside for experimenting with new gear. It can be used to achieve the same power as newly introduced gear. The only significant advantages of using the new gear will be some of the artifact synergy compared to ordinary trait upgrade found on existing artifact. I think, yeah, I feel like this whole thing feels like you could use any weapon, but I think depending on what the artifact is, it may not, the artifact perks, like the origin trait perks that you always had. I hardly ever use them. But I'm wondering, like, how does this work? Because like I said, it does. Besides being sunset, we still have a lot of weapons that feel bloated. So I'm wondering like how this will overall work in terms of upgrading. The fact that they're saying now weapon crafting is gonna be a thing, but it's not necessarily the thing. They're trying to make it to a point where it's almost like a um, catch up stuff for anyone that may just like I am unavailable to grind Nightfall this week. I'm unable to get something, but I can craft something similar to that weapon that's dropping. Work on that, and then hopefully next time around I can get something. This is kind of like that. What I feel like crafting should be, but I also feel like crafting should be updated a little bit more. But we won't know till time goes on. Um, Now, the last thing they post along with everything else is that now you'll talk about the portal, which basically with in the last post talk about the activities, uh, and there's basically saying that over the Destiny schematic also called the director of Destiny, activity routing stress the screen over the years has grown to be very unwisely, making it harder to find specific and more current and worthwhile to play, require more efforts to extra knowledge to evaluate what you're looking for. Even current players can have difficulty finding new activity, while new or training players have greater trouble. Uh, they're saying that the forward screen will be the new default activity, replacing the current destination map, which is fine. Like I said, it's such a change. I think like I said, to keep these 5 bubbles from solo off to events somewhere on the screen, perfect. Um, Obviously, solo can be 1 to 3 players. With I feel like that's still a fire team. Solo should be 1 player activity, but I think it's 1 or 2. I think this is fine. Uh, Everything still makes sense. Solo whatever. I always had to say load time and social commitment. So it's like glad to recognize it that some people have social anxiety. Flashpoint off is okay, so this is new. Oh, so basically Flashpoint off is 6 player activity for matchmaking or community group planning for a future season. This category will be issued later next year. It will feature more chaotic 6 player combat like offensive, which is cool. Um, I like how they're I like that the only thing that makes sense, the only thing that is weird for me is that they're saying the coil. I'm wondering if we're keeping the coil for next year. um, uh, the forward screen will also host uh, basically side just like bounty seasonal, just redesign Solarworks Pyro. The primary goal is to greatly reduce the chore that need to be done before diamond activity. We'll be more sharing about this. This is perfect. Uh, it does feel like a chore to have bounties on you all the time and trying to get to them in any way, fashion. If they just do something like you can look up on your ghosts. Uh, I would think ghosts. I would say if they're doing the full screen route, this would make sense that you could just press like a noggin on, uh, like just have the up button for activity. Maybe like a down button can be just bounties, and it will give you the list of available bounties for the week or today, and you could click your from the portal and not have to go to the tower or uh, destination. That would make it somewhat better. Um, But yeah, and the fact that they're also saying that bonus rewards, so 7 activities in each category will have bonus reward added to the standing offering. These bonus rewards will include things like specific weapons. Same thing, I think Nightfall or Grandmasters. Like every week, there's something uh, going on for that particular weapon. So this is going to be every day. So this does make it somewhat better. So like, let's just say there was a specific weapon that you needed for something and you're unable to play that day, but if you know that, like, let's say, uh, 5 days later in the week, you know for a fact that's gonna be come back again, and you could play it and now try to get that specific weapon. Um, this all sounds really good. Like I'm like I said, I'm now becoming more optimistic as time goes on. Um, and hopefully, this will all be coming to fruition at by before the end of this year, and we'll get something as gameplay footage. Uh, so as I was mentioning before, I wasn't sure how they're gonna handle like the year of stuff. Um, they are keeping the route of wherever the new expansions, the mid every 6 months expansion, they are gonna stay there for the entirety of the year, so people can play catch up at the end of the year if they wanted to, and go from there. But once the 125 ends, activities, as seasonal stuff will go away. So it does keep that same route, which is fine. I like how that game over me from the destination map would not be rolled into the portal category at the start of next year. We'll figure out our plan for the beloved game mode, and we have some ideas ranging from closer integration into Crucible category to standalone event that features it. Um, I mean, that's good news. I mean, I am a gaming player. It does need some rework, but like, I'd rather much have something concrete than anything else. They'd be like, okay, I understand it, but it does make sense for them saying, like, we're going to keep this separate, and once we get something more, we'll add it to the portal. Like, it's not saying it's not ever going to be part of the portal category. It's just not going to be at the start of next year. Obviously, Dungeon will be part of Pinnacle Ops and Raid. They're working on the Raid stuff, which makes sense because Raid tend to be high below, so kind of keep that separate and its own separate categories, and could also unique challenges. I mean, it's like talk about master stuff. Makes sense. Any overarching things? I would say. I think I'm very much happy that we got all this, and that obviously working Icebreaker at some point in the upcoming dungeon. But I'm very happy with the way that they presented. It's just my main criticism of all this is is how they're gonna present to us as time goes on. Like, it has to be what they've written on here, put it to fruition, and get us more hype for 2025. But other than that, I think what they presented so far gives me more hope for the future of Destiny. But I'm not going to be going back to my old ways of constantly playing Destiny every day. I'm going to take my time enjoying the break. I'm going to do my episode stuff. And hopefully from there, when 25 hits, I can be like, we're going to start fresh. So let's start with a fresh mindset and be happy whatever Apollo gives us. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed me talking. I'm trying something different. Like I said, I really didn't want to do a podcast on this. I really didn't want to do a tweet, a simple tweet on this. I just want to give my initial thought of what they've written here, and really show you that I really care about this game and all this stuff. But if you like what I've done so far, and hopefully I can make more YouTube videos down the line, please just click and like the video, subscribe it. If you think there's anything I could do to maybe do better videos on something like this before, let me know in the comments. Obviously, don't be fucking toxic. I'm just gonna delete it. Don't care. I'm old enough to know that you're gonna be stupid and be mean. You can just not get a response to me, but be very much critical, all that jazz. But thank you for listening and watching. I'm Luminous Zero, and I will see you, Starside Guardians. Bye bye.